Has someone you love begun to exhibit subtle, yet concerning changes over the past year? Many people operate under the assumption that passing away in old age occurs suddenly and unexpectedly. But the reality is that the body often sends out quiet, early warning signals months, and sometimes even up to a year, before life reaches its ultimate conclusion. The difficulty lies in the fact that most people tend to miss these crucial signs, largely because they often appear insignificant or easily attributed to normal aging at first glance. It's often only later, in retrospect, looking back on events, that families recognize that the subtle clues were, in fact, present all along. But unfortunately, by then, it's generally far too late to adequately prepare, too late to consciously ensure that those last, precious memories truly count. In this informative and compassionate video, we're going to carefully discuss 5 key signs that frequently manifest a year or so before an elderly person passes away. Some of these indicators might be things you've perhaps already noticed but have dismissed or brushed off as simply being part of the natural aging process. Others might be changes that initially seem quite small and inconsequential, but actually point to the body's gradual but steady decline in function. Recognizing these important signs early on provides you with a valuable opportunity to provide enhanced care, cherish those increasingly meaningful moments, and most importantly, ensure that your loved one's final stage of life is characterized by comfort, dignity, and peace. Before we delve deeper, if you find this type of information valuable and helpful, we encourage you to subscribe to Old Age Wisdom to gain access to more insights and support. Stay with us until the end of this important video, because understanding these 5 key signs can help you prepare emotionally and practically for what lies ahead. When you gain a deeper understanding of what's actually happening within the body, you won't be caught completely off guard, feeling lost and overwhelmed. Instead, you'll be empowered to make the most of the precious time you have remaining with those you love, creating lasting memories. Now, let's get started on this sensitive but essential topic. Number 1 on our list of key indicators is significant weight loss. One of the earliest and most telling signs that a person may be approaching their final year of life is unintentional weight loss. At first, it might seem rather minor, perhaps a belt that suddenly needs tightening a notch or two, clothes that appear noticeably looser than before, or a once robust appetite that gradually begins to fade. Many families mistakenly dismiss these subtle changes as merely being part of the normal aging process. But the reality is that losing weight without actively trying to do so is rarely a positive sign, particularly in older adults. It often signifies that the body is no longer effectively absorbing nutrients from food. Muscle mass is gradually shrinking, and essential bodily systems are beginning to slow down their operations. Aging naturally causes some degree of muscle loss, a condition known as sarcopenia, but when it occurs too rapidly or becomes excessively pronounced, it's generally a sign that something deeper and more concerning is going on within the body. The body may be struggling to efficiently digest food properly, or it may not be able to effectively process protein, leading to increasing muscle weakness. This accelerating loss of strength doesn't just make physical movement more difficult. It also increases the risk of falls, weakens the immune system, and makes the person more susceptible to contracting infections. Another primary reason for weight loss in the final year of life is often a distinct change in appetite. Many elderly people simply don't feel as hungry as they used to. Their sense of taste may gradually fade, making food no longer seem as enjoyable or appealing. As a result, they might begin skipping meals altogether or eating much smaller portions than they previously did. This isn't just a matter of personal preference or individual eating habits. It's often a natural physiological change. The body, sensing that it's gradually slowing down, no longer signals the brain to seek food as frequently as it once did. The result of this decreased appetite is less energy, diminishing strength, and a slow but steady decline in overall health and well-being. Underlying medical conditions can also play a significant role in unintentional weight loss. Weight loss is a common symptom of many chronic diseases, such as cancer, congestive heart failure, or chronic kidney disease. Illnesses that can develop and progress for a long period of time before more obvious symptoms finally appear. Even conditions such as depression or memory loss can lead to decreased eating, causing a downward spiral in which the body isn't receiving enough fuel to adequately sustain itself. Some families attempt to address the problem by actively encouraging their loved one to eat more, offering favorite foods, or adding high-protein drinks to their regular meals. But if the weight continues to drop despite these well-intentioned efforts, it's important to recognize that the underlying issue isn't simply a matter of diet or food preferences. It's often indicative of the body preparing for a more significant transition. At this advanced stage, forcing large meals may not be helpful or even comfortable. Instead, focusing on providing comfort, offering easy-to-eat foods, and ensuring adequate hydration can make a much bigger difference in maintaining their overall quality of life. If you're enjoying this video, consider subscribing to Old Age Wisdom to stay informed. If you notice significant weight loss in an elderly loved one, especially if they are eating noticeably less, expressing feelings of weakness, or struggling to stay physically active, it's time to pay close attention. This isn't just about physical appearance or a change in clothing size. It's about the body sending out a meaningful message. Understanding that message now can help you better prepare for the road ahead with increased clarity, kindness, and the enhanced ability to ensure that every remaining moment truly counts. Number 2 on our list of key indicators is extreme fatigue and weakness. One of the most commonly reported changes in the year leading up to the end of life is a profound, unrelenting tiredness that simply doesn't improve with rest. This isn't just feeling a little sleepy after a long day of activity. It's an overwhelming exhaustion that makes even the simplest, most routine tasks feel almost impossible to accomplish. Simply getting out of bed in the morning becomes a difficult chore. Walking across a room takes significant effort, and daily activities, such as cooking a simple meal, getting dressed, or even engaging in a brief conversation, begin to feel too tiring and draining. This isn't merely a matter of normal aging. It's often a telltale sign that the body is consciously saving its remaining energy reserves. As vital organs gradually begin to slow down their function, the body begins to prioritize what is absolutely essential for immediate survival. The heart doesn't pump as strongly as it once did, circulation weakens, and muscles don't receive as much oxygen as they used to. This is primarily why many elderly people in their final months of life feel increasingly weak, unsteady, and progressively unable to keep up with their usual routines. Another key contributing factor is often a significant slowdown in the body's overall metabolism. The body is inherently designed to efficiently produce and utilize energy, but as it prepares for its final stage, that precious energy is consciously redirected. Instead of fueling movement and activity, the body shifts its focus toward essential preservation. This is why someone nearing the end of life may start sleeping considerably more, needing longer naps during the day, and finding it increasingly difficult to stay awake for prolonged periods. Some may even experience sudden drops in energy, feeling relatively fine one moment, and then completely drained and depleted the next. But perhaps the hardest part of this overall process is the significant emotional toll it takes. Many seniors who once took immense pride in their independence and self-sufficiency begin feeling increasingly frustrated, or even deeply embarrassed, that they can no longer do the things they used to do with ease. They may start to pull away from conversations, avoid social events and gatherings, or stop actively pursuing hobbies and interests, not because they no longer care about them, but simply because they don't possess the physical or mental energy to engage fully. This can, unfortunately, lead to a detrimental cycle of increasing isolation, where they eventually stop trying altogether, which only serves to speed up their overall decline. For families watching a loved one transition from being active and involved to tired and withdrawn, it can be a truly heartbreaking experience. It's easy to mistakenly assume that they're simply being lazy or that they need to somehow push through it. But the reality is that forcing increased activity won't ultimately help. What matters most is understanding their physical limitations, allowing them to rest whenever needed, and focusing on making their remaining days as comfortable and peaceful as possible. If you notice a loved one experiencing deep, ongoing tiredness that simply doesn't go away with adequate rest, take it as an important sign that their body is undergoing a major change. This is the time to treasure conversations, create moments of peace, and offer your unwavering support without expecting too much from them physically. If you're finding value in this video, please subscribe, and click the notification bell. Because, in the end, what truly matters most isn't how much they can still accomplish. It's that they feel deeply loved, fully understood, and genuinely at peace. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights helpful, please share your thoughts by commenting number 2 below to let me know you're here and actively engaged. And if you haven't subscribed to Old Age Wisdom yet, I sincerely encourage you to do so right now and turn on that notification bell so you won't miss any of our future videos. Your support helps us continue creating high-quality content to inform, inspire, and empower you on your journey. Now, let's move forward with our discussion. Number 3, increased confusion or withdrawal. As a person approaches the final stage of life, one of the most noticeable changes is in how they think, how they communicate, and how they generally interact with others. You may observe that someone who was once sharp, quick-witted, and highly engaged in conversations now forgets things more often, struggles to follow complex conversations, or seems inexplicably lost in familiar places. They might repeatedly ask the same questions, forget names of close acquaintances, or lose track of time, even if they never had any significant memory problems before. These subtle but noticeable mental changes can begin months, or even a year, before their passing. This isn't simply a matter of normal age-related forgetfulness. It often indicates something deeper. The brain, like any other organ in the body, needs a steady and consistent supply of oxygen and essential nutrients to function properly. But as blood flow gradually slows down and oxygen levels diminish, cognitive and brain function inevitably begins to weaken. The person may become easily confused, struggle to make simple decisions, or have increasing trouble recognizing people and places they've known intimately for many years. In some cases, they might experience brief, fleeting moments of clarity, followed by sudden and disorienting episodes of confusion, almost as if their mind is intermittently fading in and out. Another common sign often observed is emotional withdrawal. Someone nearing the end of life often loses interest in socializing with others. You may notice them talking less frequently, engaging less actively in conversations, or spending prolonged periods simply sitting in silence. It's not that they no longer care about their loved ones. It's that their brain no longer processes emotions and social interactions in the same way it once did. Conversations become exhausting, loud or stimulating environments feel overwhelming, and many seniors eventually retreat into their own inner world. You may also notice distinct changes in their mood and behavior. Some individuals become more irritable, anxious, or easily frustrated, even over seemingly minor matters. Others seem unusually calm, detached, or disinterested in things they once cared deeply about. This isn't simply a personality change. It's often indicative of the brain adjusting as the body gradually declines. As mental function slows down, emotions become harder to process and express, and the person may simply stop reacting in the same predictable way they used to. For family members, this particular stage can be especially painful and challenging to navigate. Watching a loved one slowly lose touch with reality or withdraw emotionally can feel like losing them long before they're actually gone. But it's critically important to remember that this isn't something they can consciously control. Instead of trying to force them back into conversations or push them to be more engaged, the best approach you can take is to simply meet them where they are. Speak to them gently, offer them consistent comfort, and understand that even if they don't always verbally respond, they can still feel your loving presence. If a loved one is becoming increasingly forgetful, more easily confused, or less engaged in social interactions, please don't ignore it. These are often early signs that their body and mind are preparing for the final transition. This is a time to be exceptionally patient, cherish quiet moments together, and focus on ensuring that their surroundings feel safe, familiar, and peaceful. Because even when words eventually fade, love and comfort can still be deeply felt. Let's now move on to the next indicator. Number 4, frequent infections and slow healing. As the body begins to shut down its various systems, one of the clearest physical signs is a noticeable weakening of the immune system. You may observe that someone who rarely got sick before now seems to catch every passing cold, flu, or minor infection that circulates. What used to be relatively minor illnesses now takes significantly longer to recover from. And even small wounds, such as a simple cut or a minor bruise, heal much slower than before. These changes aren't random occurrences. They're telltale signs that the body can no longer effectively protect or repair itself the way it once did. One of the biggest concerns in this situation is repeated infections. Pneumonia, urinary tract infections, UTIs, skin infections, and even oral infections become increasingly common as the immune system weakens. Many families mistakenly think that these are just isolated illnesses or unfortunate coincidences, but when they happen frequently or take an extended period to heal, it's usually a sign that the body is losing its inherent ability to fight back against invading pathogens. Even antibiotics, which used to work quickly and effectively, may now seem less potent. The person may require stronger medications, longer recovery times, or multiple rounds of treatment for infections that were once considered minor and easily resolved. This occurs because, as blood flow slows down and vital organs weaken, the body simply doesn't respond to medical treatment as effectively as it once did. Another often overlooked issue is the development of chronic wounds. If you notice that small scratches, sores, or bruises aren't healing properly or keep reopening, it could indicate that blood circulation is compromised. Poor circulation means that essential oxygen and nutrients aren't efficiently reaching the skin and underlying tissues, making the healing process much slower than normal. Bed sores, especially for those who are less mobile or spend extended periods in bed or a chair, become a serious risk and can lead to dangerous infections if not carefully managed with preventative measures and diligent care. What's even more concerning is that infections in the final year of life often don't manifest in the same way we might expect. Instead of a high fever, an elderly person may simply seem more tired than usual, more confused, or less interested in eating. In fact, for seniors nearing the end of life, a sudden decline in mental awareness is often the very first warning sign of an underlying infection, even before more typical symptoms appear. Recognizing these subtle changes early on can make a significant difference in the amount of comfort and care a person receives in their final stage of life. For families watching a loved one go through repeated infections, it can be both frustrating and heartbreaking. It's certainly tempting to push for aggressive treatments, hoping that one more round of antibiotics or another extended hospital stay will somehow solve the underlying problem. But at a certain point, the overall focus often needs to shift from solely curing the illness to providing optimal comfort and support. Making sure they stay well hydrated, keeping their skin meticulously clean and moisturized, and reducing stress on their body can often do more for their overall well-being than yet another round of medications that only add to their suffering. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights helpful, please share your thoughts by commenting number 4 below. And if you haven't yet subscribed to Old Age Wisdom, I encourage you to do so and turn on the bell icon so you don't miss any of our future videos. Your support helps us continue creating valuable content to inform and inspire you on your journey. Now, let's move forward with our discussion. Number 5. Major changes in breathing or circulation. One of the clearest and most readily observable signs that the body is reaching its final stage is a noticeable change in breathing patterns and circulation. You may notice that your loved one breathes more slowly or more shallowly than before. Sometimes they might exhibit longer pauses between breaths, or their breathing might become distinctly irregular, speeding up and then slowing down unexpectedly. Some people experience a specific breathing pattern called Cheyne-Stokes respiration, characterized by deep, quick breaths alternating with periods of prolonged apnea, a complete cessation of breathing. These changes may start subtly, but over time, they typically become more noticeable and occur more frequently. Another common sign is weaker circulation. You may notice that their hands, feet, or even their nose and ears consistently feel cold to the touch. Their skin may appear pale, bluish, or exhibit a mottled appearance, especially around the fingers and toes. This happens because the body is consciously focusing on sending blood primarily to the vital organs, reducing circulation to the extremities. It's a clear indication that the heart is not pumping as strongly as it once did. Some people also experience increased shortness of breath, even with minimal physical exertion. Simply sitting up, talking, or changing positions might make them feel noticeably out of breath. You may notice them breathing through their mouth more often, or they may suddenly need to pause and catch their breath while speaking. If they were once able to walk across the room easily, but now struggle significantly. Their lung function may be getting progressively weaker. In some cases, fluid buildup in the lungs can make breathing even more difficult. This may manifest as a constant cough, gurgling sounds with each breath, or a persistent feeling of tightness in the chest. Many people mistakenly assume that it's just congestion from a common cold, but in elderly individuals nearing the end of life, it's often a sign that the lungs are gradually failing. Lying flat may feel increasingly uncomfortable, and they may prefer to sleep propped up on multiple pillows or in a recliner to help them breathe more easily. For family members, seeing these concerning changes can be quite scary and distressing. It's natural to want to help in any way you can, to encourage them to take deeper breaths, or worry that something serious is acutely happening. But in many cases, this is simply the body's way of gradually slowing down its functions. There may not always be a way to completely stop these changes from happening, but there are certainly ways to make them more comfortable. Keeping the room consistently cool, using a humidifier to add moisture to the air, or offering small sips of water to keep their mouth moist can help ease their discomfort. In some cases, medications or supplemental oxygen therapy can provide relief, but the primary goal shifts to comfort and symptom management, rather than trying to aggressively cure the underlying problem. If you are finding this information valuable, please remember to subscribe to Old Age Wisdom. If you notice these significant signs, such as marked changes in breathing patterns, consistently cold hands and feet, or a bluish tint to the skin, please pay close attention. These are often signs that the body is consciously conserving energy and circulation is slowing down as a result. This is a time to be fully present, offer unwavering reassurance, and create a peaceful and supportive environment where they feel safe, comfortable, and deeply cared for. Final thoughts. As we come to the end of this important discussion, take a moment to reflect on what we've covered today. Significant weight loss, extreme tiredness, increased confusion or withdrawal, frequent infections and slow healing, and major changes in breathing and circulation. These 5 signs frequently appear in the year before an elderly person passes away. They may not all happen simultaneously, and they may not always be easy to detect at first, but when you start seeing several of them together, it's a strong indication that the body is preparing for its final transition. For many families, these changes can be difficult to accept and process. It's natural to want to fight against them, to encourage a loved one to eat more, move more, or push through their exhaustion. But sometimes, the best and most compassionate thing we can do is to listen to what their body is telling us. Instead of trying to stop the inevitable, we can shift our focus to making their remaining time as peaceful, comfortable, and meaningful as possible. Understanding these often subtle signs isn't about being afraid of death. It's about being adequately prepared for it. When you recognize these changes early on, you can provide enhanced care, make important choices well in advance, and ensure that your loved one's final months are filled with abundant love and unwavering dignity. This is a precious time to cherish every moment, share cherished memories, and remind them repeatedly that they are deeply loved and never alone. If you're noticing these signs in someone close to you, take a deep breath and remember that you're not alone on this challenging journey. Many families have gone through similar experiences, and while it's never easy, knowing what to expect can help you find strength, patience, and a sense of inner peace. Thank you so much for joining us on Old Age Wisdom today. We truly appreciate your presence and engagement. We'd love to hear from you. Please leave a thoughtful comment below and share something you learned today and how you plan to use that information in your life. Your thoughts matter to us, so please don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments provides us with valuable motivation and encouragement to continue creating content that serves you. If you found this video helpful, please click the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share it with others who might benefit from this information. Your support truly helps us continue creating valuable content to inform, inspire, and empower you. Thanks so much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video.